The story opens in 1944, right in the middle of World War II. Gunfire echoes across the Pacific Ocean, and we find an American Marine captain named Allison drifting in a rubber raft. His unit had been ambushed by Japanese forces, and although everyone else was killed, Allison miraculously escaped and ended up alone at sea for days. Eventually, he spots an island in the distance. With the last of his strength, he paddles toward it, reaches the shore, drags his raft out of the water, and begins searching for any sign of life. But all he finds are rocks, trees, and silence until he notices an old church. When he steps inside, a young Catholic nun named Angela appears. She's terrified when she sees him, but Allison reassures her, "Don't be scared. I'm American. You're safe with me." When he asks how many people are on the island, Angela replies, "There's no one else here. Only me." Allison struggles to believe it. Angela later brings him to the place she's been living and gives him food. Allison asks her why she's alone, and she tells him her story. She came to the island with a priest to help elderly clergy escape from Japanese troops, but when they arrived, the Japanese had already occupied the island and taken the priest prisoner. Angela and the priest hid, hoping to survive until rescue came, but the priest became ill and died. Since then, she's survived completely alone. Everyone back home assumed she'd been captured as well. Allison shares his own story, how his squad was wiped out and how he barely escaped with his life. After resting, he wakes up to see Angela praying quietly by candlelight, seeking guidance. The next morning they search for food. Allison climbs trees to collect coconuts and fruit, but he needs protein too. Spotting a turtle in the water, he takes some wood and rope and gets into the raft. Angela joins him, and although catching the turtle is difficult, Allison even falls into the water. They eventually manage to bring it back. Allison cooks the turtle and says, "We've got everything we need to survive, even if no one ever comes." Angela asks about his family, and Allison explains he grew up in an orphanage and later joined the military. Angela says she's also an orphan, and because of her faith, she chose to become a nun. The next day, they see a Japanese fighter plane overhead. Worried, Allison hides with Angela in a cave. They stay inside for an entire day. The next morning, explosions shake the ground. Japanese aircraft are bombing the island. Angela panics and prays while Allison tries to calm her. After the bombing stops, they find their shelter and the church completely destroyed. Soon after, a Japanese unit lands to set up a weather station. They destroy Allison's raft as well. With no choice, Allison and Angela hide in the cave again. Soldiers roam everywhere, and Allison stands guard with a knife while Angela hides deeper inside. Luckily, they're not discovered. Angela suggests surrendering, thinking the Japanese won't hurt a nun, and that it might give Allison a chance to escape. But Allison refuses. Soldiers might kill her anyway. That night, Allison sneaks out to catch fish. Japanese troops spot him, so he pretends to be dead until they leave. He manages to catch a fish, but since Angela stopped eating meat after becoming a nun, her stomach rejects it and she vomits, leaving her hungry and weak. Later, Allison sneaks into a Japanese camp, camouflaging his face with dirt. He almost gets caught and ends up hiding all night, but by morning he escapes with a bag of food. Angela wakes up and thinks he's dead, but when he returns, she bursts into tears and scolds him. Allison apologizes and promises he won't disappear like that again. The next day, he gives her a flower and a comb, cheering her up. When he asks if she ever considered living a normal life, Angela explains she hasn't taken her final vows yet and still has 5 years before making her permanent commitment. Suddenly they hear shouting. The Japanese soldiers are leaving. With leftover supplies from the camp, surviving becomes much easier. Feeling hopeful, Allison opens his heart and confesses that he's spent his life alone and full of hardship, but now he wants a future with her. He asks her to marry him once the war is over. Angela is shocked. She has devoted herself to God and cannot break that promise. Allison is devastated but apologizes. That night, Allison finds a bottle of Japanese liquor and drinks far too much. Drunk and emotional, he mocks Angela's vows and compares their situation to Adam and Eve on a deserted island. Hurt and humiliated, Angela runs out into the forest during a storm, eventually collapsing from exhaustion and cold. Allison searches the island desperately but can't find her until morning. When he finally discovers her unconscious, he carries her back but finds Japanese soldiers have returned. He hides her in the cave as her condition worsens. Determined to save her, he sneaks into the Japanese camp again and steals medicine and blankets. A soldier discovers him, and Allison is forced to kill him in self-defense. Back in the cave, he changes Angela's wet clothes, gives her medicine, and desperate for the first time prays. When she wakes up, she asks who changed her clothes. Allison admits he did and apologizes again for everything. Suddenly, more explosions rock the island. Japanese forces are bombarding the area, likely because they discovered the dead soldier Allison killed. Angela prays in fear as Japanese troops approach the cave and threaten to throw grenades inside. Believing the end is near, she holds Allison's hand and prays. But at the last second, powerful explosions shake the island again, this time from American planes. Allison realizes the American Navy has arrived. They rush outside as U.S. aircraft bombard Japanese positions. He knows, however, that the Navy won't be able to land safely because the Japanese still have 4 heavy guns hidden on the island. He tells Angela that God would want him to help save lives. Angela gives him her blessing. Allison charges across the battlefield and destroys the guns one by one, getting injured but saving countless American soldiers. The bombing stops, and the Navy finally lands. Angela comes out to care for Allison's wounds as he's placed on a stretcher. When the American captain sees him alive, he's stunned. They all thought Allison was dead. Allison tells Angela it's time to say goodbye and that they may never see each other again. Angela replies, "Even if I don't spend my life with you, you will always be in my heart." The movie closes with the Navy raising their flag. Allison never tried to force Angela away from her faith, and Angela always respected him. The film shows that real love isn't always about being together. Sometimes two hearts can stay connected even when life leads them apart.